roads leading to fuel depot cleared after 6 days of standoff. A coronial inquest to be set up to investigate Hanuabada deaths. And central leaders condemn the killings, saying it's a wake-up call.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Wednesday's news. Thanks again for joining us. Police Commissioner Jeffrey Vaki and NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Andy Bawa are taking proactive measures to work closely with the Motu Koitabuans for justice to prevail. This morning, all roadblocks were cleared, but under one condition, that a thorough and neutral police investigation must be carried out in not more than 6 weeks.
Following the outcome of last night's meeting with Hanuabada villagers and Police Commissioner Jeffrey Vaki and NCD Police Boss Andy Bawa, the villagers have finally agreed to remove the roadblocks. And now you can see behind me, the vehicles are freely moving in and out of the village. Mr. Vaki and Bawa are on ground working close with the Hanuabada, Tatana and Baroni communities to maintain law and order, peace bringing and ensuring that all socio-economic activities in the city are normal. At the same time, assuring the immediate families and the villagers that a thorough investigation will be carried out.
Since organized the investigation, that is under process, and we are encouraging village people to go in and give the evidence, the statements, etc. And then that will all be put into the part of the investigation report. So that is also, everything is online now. So as far as you're concerned, we are very, very pleased with what Mr. Vaki has done. And we are also doing a petition to him, to the government, on our concerns.
Yesterday afternoon, the mandated committee that was set up to manage or control the situation at Hanuabada village maintained that roadblocks will remain until the demands are met by the state. However, Mr. Vaki and Bawa managed to convince them to open the roadblocks.
All I'm asking for you people is this. Look at the overall picture and see for yourselves the impact it's having. Because whilst you're putting on a roadblock, and should we not have the fuel tankers go, aircraft don't fly, our children cannot go to, Hanuabada kids can't go to Unitec and register. And those things will be on the hands of you leaders. So we need to have some sort of common sense must prevail.
This Friday, the Hanuabada villagers will present their demands and petition to the state and requested the presence of Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, the Police Minister Robert Atiafa, Governor Powers Pakop and other 3 electorates MPs. The relatives of the suspect who was shot in Tatana village by police in the 17th of this month demanded the state and the police to give equal treatment to them as what they are doing for Hanuabada. Meanwhile, different investigation by both police and the village investigation team are continuing. Vasina Tayama, National EMTV News.
National Capital District Governor Powers Pakop wants tough measures on the issuing of firearms to police officers. Governor Pakop says the Hanuabada shooting is unfortunate, but only investigations will tell us who is at fault. He called on the police hierarchy not to blame the NCD Reserve Police Unit for the shootings.
And I'd like to call on our people to...
While expressing his condolences to the families of the 2 deceased in the Hanuabada shooting, Governor Pakop says the incident has called for a proper review on the issuing of rifles to policemen and women. He says the alleged shooting by police has again triggered questions of the control of guns in the country.
We must learn the lesson, and that is that maybe we should keep the weapons, especially all these rifles that are deadly, in the hands of senior officers and not the constables or other ancillary police or members of the police force who might not be better trained to handle that type of weapons. And
so we cannot just blanketly say that NCD Reserve Unit will be stood down, disbanded, and this establishment has been done through the Office of the Commissioner and Office of the Governor.
Governor Pakop was disappointed with how the police hierarchy addressed the media on Monday. He maintained that only investigations will tell who is answerable for the death of the 2 Hanuabada men.
And I've already called for police investigation to be fast and swift so we can bring to justice those who might be responsible for these tragic events.
When it comes to firearms,
they are taught on the rules of engagement, the procedures when and when not to use lethal force. That is taught at the outset of police training college. So no policemen and women will come here and tell us that they were not taught procedures.
Meanwhile, Deputy City Manager Ong Kiap says the Buai ban does not cover Motu Koitabu villages as stated in the NCD Beetle Nut Control Law 2013. Governor Pakop and his team will be working closely with the 3 MPs of Mosby, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and the Motu Koitabu Assembly in addressing this issue. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
The main supplier of jet fuel in Port Moresby, Pacific Energy Aviation, is running low with fuel supply. However, with the clearance of roadblocks at Hanawabara village today, the company is hoping to restore its fuel demand by tomorrow. Pacific Energy Aviation supplies jet fuel to Air Niugini and other airline companies operating in Port Moresby's Jackson's International Airport.
Pacific Energy Aviation is the sole distributor of jet fuels to Air Niugini and other airline companies operating in Port Moresby. It supplies about 250,000 liters of jet fuel per day. But the incident at Hanawabara village escalates since last Friday. The company's fuel supply is now running low. The company's supply has dropped below average. This morning, the company supplied only 70,000 liters of jet fuel to various airliners, excluding airlines PNG. Its normal distribution capacity is 250,000 liters per day. Pacific Energy Aviation Procurement Analyst Officer Alphonse Aron says they are strategically scaling down on issuing supplies.
Yes, as a result of the current situation down at Hanawabara, we have scaled down on the fuel supply to all our clients. So we're coming at a situation where we've very limited fuel at the moment.
Mr. Haron says while Air Niugini planes are given priority during this situation, other airlines are also being considered.
I think it's below the par which we normally operate on. We are actually trying our very best to at least keep the Air Niugini flights, especially the flights, overseas flights and the flights going out to and from Port Moresby to other centers. We're actually trying our best to make sure those flights are as per what the schedule is.
At lunchtime, the road was cleared and fuel tankers were bringing in jet fuel supplies. It's a relief for the company, but according to Alphonse, each tanker is carrying 40,000 liters and they will need 2 tankers to fill a hydrant tank. Meanwhile, PNG Power Corporate Relations has advised that load shedding in NCD will continue because fuel supply has not reached the Moitaka and Kanudi power stations yet. It is believed the fuel and electricity problem will be back to normal by tomorrow. The roadblock was set up 5 days ago by Hanawabara villagers after a confrontation with police officers that resulted in 2 men being shot and killed. The Motu Koitabu Assembly has supported the community and demanding 20 million kina compensation from the government. The Hanawabara incident has affected business houses, PMV operators and aviation companies. Such incidents and compensation demands sends a wrong signal for investors trying to invest in Papua New Guinea. Quinton Alomp, National EMTV News.
An independent coronial inquiry has been set up to investigate the Hanawabara killings. Chief Secretary Sir Manasupe Zurinoa says the state will hire a lawyer to look into this case.
The idea of setting up an independent investigation team to investigate the alleged shooting deaths of the 2 Hanawabara men by police was well backed up by the national government through the office of the Chief Secretary. In a meeting between families of the 2 deceased and state representatives in Port Moresby today, Chief Secretary Sir Manasupe announced that the government aims to improve strengthening the law and order in the country. Thus, it is important that an inquiry be established.
To bring back normalcy was basically that we will set up an independent inquiry for them. We have now set up what is called a coronial inquest to get to the bottom of what happened at Hanawabara. As you know, coronial inquests is usually an inquiry to determine the evidence surrounding a certain event and determining who was responsible.
Since the killings, villagers have openly expressed their distrust in police. They have set up their own investigation team consisting of 3 lawyers. This team will also conduct interviews and carry out a separate investigation.
We want one of our own people to be part and parcel of the inquiry, and I can tell you that Sir Zuran has agreed to that. Our young lawyer, Novara, is going to be included as part of the team, so he will be reporting facts.
When responding to the Chief Secretary's announcement, Anwar Bada's spokesperson, lawyer Samuel, said he accepted the state's decision to set up an independent inquiry. He said while the immediate families of the deceased have forgiven the shooters, they want justice to prevail.
I have just about an hour ago spoken to the Chief Magistrate, Ms. Neri Lekin. She has now made available a coroner who's on standby to start at ASAP.
Meanwhile, a confirmed budget has not been set up to fund the inquiry, but the state will be financing it through the Prime Minister's department. The inquiry is set to begin next month. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Central Province Governor Kila Hauda, Minister for Public Service and Abao MP Sir Pukatemu, and Member for Kairukuhiri Peter Isoaimo have all condemned the Hanuabada shooting incident. The leaders said this is a wake-up call for the government to deal with how the Buai ban is affecting the Motukoita villages and Central Province as a whole. They are now calling on NCD Governor Powis Parkup to hold talks with them and find a solution that does not victimize the traditional landowners of the nation's capital.
Governor Hauda, Sir Puka and Mr. Isoaimo held a media conference at the Central Provincial Government headquarters in Port Moresby today. They blamed the betel-nut ban for contributing to the 2 deaths that occurred at Hanuabada village last week. Governor Hauda maintained that the leaders of Central Province were never consulted by NCD Governor Powis Parkup before putting the Buai ban in place. They are concerned about the level of aggression and harassment of people from Mekeo, Kairuku, and now the Motu Koita people whose villages remain on the periphery of the country's capital city.
Buai ban has drastically affected my people. We should be the ones selling betel-nut here, and we should be the one earning our money for our people. Economy is very important, as we know, in today's lives. And these people are now affected, and I am deeply concerned as a governor.
Minister for Public Service and Abao MP Sir Pukatemu said the ban should be focused on managing the litter.
I, for one, have always believed that the issue of the ban of betel-nut in NCD, the intentions were very good, and it resulted in the outcome that we know the city is cleaner. But unfortunately, the way it was managed is very bad, very badly managed by those who were supervising it, and the decisions made to relocate to Laloki where some deaths took place. I believe that the ban of a commodity that traditionally has been used over many, many years by citizens is unconstitutional, particularly that commodity where they are raising revenue to improve their livelihood.
Sir Puka also condemned the use of live ammunition on unarmed civilians.
Never allow such a situation to repeat itself, and I think the use of rubber guns or tear gas is the way to go in quelling such situations.
Kairukuhiri MP Peter Isoaimo said this is a wake-up call for the government to do something about this bylaw that keeps taking away lives of innocent people.
And it's been badly affected to a stage where we are now losing lives. It's a wake-up call now for the government. As leaders from the affected electorate and areas, we are calling for reversal of this decision.
The leaders of Central Province, led by Governor Kila Hauda, Abao MP Sir Pukatemu and Member for Kairukuhiri Peter Isoaimo, are now calling on NCD Governor Powis Parkup to meet with them this week to find better solutions on how to regulate the trade of betel-nut. Delhi Bagu, National EMTV News.
And among stories coming up after the break, Sohe MP Delilah Gore referred to the public prosecutor, also Lae City Manager reinstated and ensuring quality export of coffee. Stay tuned. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. The Ombudsman Commission has referred the Minister for Community Development and Sohe MP Delilah Gore to the public prosecutor. The referral is based on the incident involving the minister at Gira Airport in Popondetta, where she uttered the infamous question, "Do you know who I am?"
In April last year, Minister Gore was on an Air Niugini flight from Popondetta when she refused to switch off her mobile phone after the safety demonstration was done. Her response to the flight attendant and the commotion that followed was reported both in mainstream and social media. PNG's watchdog, the Ombudsman Commission, found the minister's actions to be against civil aviation laws.
The allegation constitutes misconduct. It's the conduct that was the subject of the investigation by the Ombudsman Commission, and we have found a prima facie case against her. And based upon that finding, we have decided to refer her to the public prosecutor.
A prima facie case means
There is evidence showing that she, in fact, committed that offense.
Minister Gore has been notified in writing of a referral and was in touch personally with the Ombudsman Commission yesterday to be informed of this development. This case is now before the public prosecutor, who will decide if this needs further action.
And he will go through the documentation that we have referred to him, and he will make his decision whether to take it further to the leadership tribunal, refer it to the leadership tribunal or not.
The Chief Ombudsman had this reminder for individuals who hold public office.
Being a leader, you got to conduct yourself in a manner that will not provoke suspicion, or that you don't compromise your leadership role.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The District Court in Lae has ordered for the reinstatement of Roy Kamen as the duly appointed City Manager for Lae. The court yesterday dismissed an order which was filed by Acting Provincial Administrator Geoving Bulong and the Morobe Provincial Government as the complainants. The court ruled in favour of Mr. Kamen, stating that the court proceedings were baseless and doesn't have any serious value.
The Lae District Court yesterday ordered that Roy Kamen should have absolute access to the office of the Lae City Manager and should not be stopped by anyone. The court has also ordered that Mr. Kamen is allowed to perform and undertake all duties and responsibilities of the Lae City Manager.
Dismiss his ex parte order because it was frivolous.
In an interview with EMTV, he says the allegations made against him didn't point out which sections of the Public Service Act he has breached. Kamen says he is happy with the judicial system for allowing him to take office and sort the many outstanding issues in the city.
The basic things that have been controlled whilst during my time has gone out of hand when I was out of the office, like street selling and all this stuff, pickpocketing. Now it's even worse. I employed people to control this street selling and all this stuff, and these people were terminated by the administrator.
Early last year, the acting Morobe Provincial Administrator, Geowing Bilong, sidelined Mr. Kamen for alleged mismanagement and misuse. Mr. Bilong appointed Lae District Administrator Robin Callistus as the acting city manager. In October, the Public Service Commission reappointed Roy Kamen. However, Geowing Bilong went ahead and appointed another senior city council staff to act as the city manager.
In the public service of Morobe, we got no leadership.
Kamen says despite the PSC directive, the acting provincial administrator went on to take an ex parte order, preventing him from entering office.
I have sought legal advice, and my lawyers have gone to court, and the court made a decision yesterday to dismiss his ex parte order because it was frivolous, meaning his orders had no substance in the court of law. It was.
Meanwhile, the Lae City Council as the municipal authority has a backlog of issues that are yet to be addressed. Mr. Kamen was due to take the office yesterday. However, he will commence on Thursday.
Sylvester Gawi, National MTV News, Leh.
Meanwhile, Leh City Manager Roy Kamen has raised concerns that the Morobe Provincial Administration has gone backwards with no leadership. Mr. Kamen says, unlike previous administrations, the current administration led by Acting Provincial Administrator Gioving Bilong has been incompetent in delivering services to the people. He also outlined that as a result, the public service in Morobe Province has not been performing.
Me looking at one thing, we go backwards. This administration has gone backwards. It has no leadership. What time long Mr. Duran walk, we were up there. Now me last of time through. Me work close to 30 years when the Morobe administration has a key up. And this is the worst administration under leadership of Mr. Bilong. He is incompetent. He cannot run the province. He should step down and give way for somebody vibrant, somebody with a vision to come and lead this province. It's a big province. It's the biggest province in the country.
The Independent Consumer and Competition Commission, or ICCC, today announced the new pricing for taxi and PMV services in the country. ICCC Commissioner Dr. Billy Manoka said the rate is placed considering issues associated with the operation of running PMV services. Urban routes in Port Moresby will be 90 toea, while Leh City 80 toea. Taxi services will see a minimum flag rate of 1 kina 70 toea and 2 kina 30 toea per kilometre as distance. Dr. Manoka says taxi rates will be subject to change considering CPI movements and changes in petrol and diesel prices. He urged bus and taxi owners to comply or face legal action. The future of Papua New Guinea's coffee hinges on the quality of export beans going out of the country. A team from Leh's Coffee Industry Corporation, tasked to maintain the high standards of coffee beans, say farmers' attitudes toward growing and picking beans directly impact quality beans. The team, upon tasting samples from export coffee bags, can pick out inconsistency in the coffee beans.
At Leh's Coffee Industry Corporation, a team is tasked to monitor coffee beans going onto vessels bound for overseas markets. The small office has a significant role. It makes sure coffee beans from all over Papua New Guinea are of the highest quality. What's done here ensures that the world gets the best that Papua New Guinea has to offer.
With the good quality comes the better price.
Marie Kiliawi has worked in the CIC Leh branch since its establishment in 1989. She says 1 million bags of coffee beans are exported per year. The number of bags exported has been consistent throughout the years, but the quality has slanted. There are many reasons, but one has been farmers are now impatient and are looking to make quick money.
Better training for farmers to understand and look after their coffee garden, and the quality will be there.
These concerns come as coffee beans are becoming a strong commodity in the agricultural sector. This facility is the last focal point for coffee beans coming from the Highlands region, parts of Morobe province, and several other coffee-growing provinces around the country.
The difference is depends on the coffee consistency, quality consistency. The dry aroma, what we detect from dry aroma, if only the coffee is consistent, we're going to detect the same thing from wet aroma.
Goroka-based CIC Industry Regulation and Compliance Manager Sam Menanga describes this office as the last quality checkpoint.
Almost 3/4 or 1/4 of the population of Papua New Guinea is benefiting from the coffee industry directly or indirectly. So this industry where we have to sustain it for our future generation.
The team has revealed that over the years, the quality of coffee has been maintained, but new trees have to be planted by farmers, while roads and bridges must be built to connect coffee-growing areas to the Coffee Industry Corporation and markets. Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Leh.
PNG's largest cattle farm, Koitaki, is increasing its meat production by 4,000 heads this year. Koitaki Operations Manager Sunny Awea said the importation of 4,000 heads from the Markham farm will be the driving factor to boost its meat supplies in the country.
Koitaki Farm Operations Manager Sonny Awea said this 110 hectares of cattle farm is breeding more cattle to supply meat throughout the country. Meanwhile, it has 6,000 heads which supplies meat to large supermarkets in Port Moresby and mining centers in Papua New Guinea. With its huge land area that can cater for more livestock, Koitaki Farm Management is adamant of increasing its meat production by more than 6,000 heads.
Now, Mipla sa look inside Moresby areas, that's all. So Mipla got plans, Mipla outside or something.
Koitaki breeds a range of cattle from bulls to steers. Due to the adaptability of environment conditions and the proposed health risk involved, the management has considered to farm the Brahman breed. It takes about 6 months to raise cattle. However, raising cattle is a very expensive exercise because of the cost involved in ordering equipment, looking after them, and the high cost of medical supplies.
Business, it's a very expensive and one expensive exercise where I'm involved in plenty of marasin. Mipla need mipla importing all salt block, like leak blocks, na all drains. Time mipla winari mo rosi mo lo mama.